11:03. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to discuss the Discovery Admin Workspace and how it can elevate the Discovery's experience with, day one and day two operations. Myself, Derek Kitzman, I'm Outbound Product Manager in the ITOM business unit, and I'm also joined with Sri Subramanian, who is a Senior Director of ITOM Product Management. And then I've got a couple of folks that are helping with Q&A. Gian and Steve and Kim are also on the line to help with asking any questions. All right. Yeah, just if this is a monthly series. We have several events, and you can scan this QR code and see future webinars and meetups. So we'll also include a link that you can register for future ones as well. Just a little housekeeping. Everybody's line's been muted. We have enabled the Q&A feature, so please ask any questions in the Q&A, and we'll get those answered. We've got one poll here, so if you could please answer the poll questions. And then, this is going to be a recorded session. So we will post this out on the ServiceNow community after the session. And then once this session ends, we'll kindly ask you to please provide your feedback in a short survey. All right, so introductions. Once again, my name is Derek Kitzman. I am an outbound product manager responsible for ITOM Visibility and Cloud Accelerate with ServiceNow. Sri, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello team. Sri, I lead the inbound product management for ITOM Business Unit. I build the visibility and cloud-related product lines. Over to you, Derek.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Sri. So just, safe harbor notice, we really won't be covering anything that hasn't been released, but if there are any questions that may talk about future capabilities, just wanted you to know that, don't make any decisions on anything that hasn't been released yet. Okay, so quick agenda. We're going to cover some ITOM visibility features that have been released with our Xanadu release that just came out. We're going to dive into the Discovery Admin Workspace, a couple slides, and then Shree's going to do a demo, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. All right, so just a quick overview of the ServiceNow platform and the ITOM visibility capabilities, the capabilities available with ITOM visibility, of course, sort management, firewall, audits and reporting, tag governance, Oracle Glass, the multi-source CMDB, service mapping, the three different types: tag-based service mapping, machine learning-based service mapping, and top-down. Also, cloud-native operations to discover your Kubernetes environment, as well as agent client collector visibility, and of course, discovery, right? And the service graph connectors. All of those using those capabilities to populate the CMDB, not just, with an inventory, but also business context into, your environments, so you can understand the impact of changes and be able to respond to incidents faster, et cetera. So we're going to go on, talk about the Xanadu release. So in this particular session, we're going to talk about the Discovery Admin Workspace and all the cool features that will really help Discovery admins get to value quicker and troubleshoot issues much faster. Another feature that was released in our Xanadu is, being able to leverage data in the service graph, the machine-based service machine learning service graph. Doing machine learning service mapping, leveraging data from service graph connectors. So previously, you had to go through that validation process of the processes and things like that. With the new feature, you can leverage data from really any trusted source to be able to build those machine learning service maps. We also have support for Azure Key Vault for an external credential storage. And then, of course, Acme support for automated policy fulfillment policies for certificate management. When we think about the new Discovery Admin experience, right? You've got really, those main challenges of, building out your discovery schedules, those day one operations of setting up the IP ranges, setting up your credentials, setting up the mid server, and building out your schedules in a much more easier manner without having to navigate through the left nav. And then, really the key feature that I think really makes the Discovery Admin Workspace amazing is, being able to, manage your schedules in a much more effective manner, having diagnostics to be able to troubleshoot and really facilitate error handling and case management to resolve those issues in a more streamlined fashion. And then, of course, the tuning advisor. So really, it's being able to set up your discovery environment and troubleshoot in a much quicker, faster manner. So the Discovery Admin Workspace, the upgraded user experience, is available on the store. So this is, a second iteration. The first iteration really just contained the content service. This one, is going to have, those additional feature sets that we're going to talk about today. One caveat, as far as supportability, it does require Washington Patch 5. And then, there is something that we'll talk about, Shazam Insights, that does require an upgrade to Xanadu. So just to point out, it's available on the store, and it will be supported on Washington Patch 5. The dependency on Xanadu is with Shazam Insights, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So when we think about, the new workspace, you don't have to hunt and peck through, Discovery Home to figure out, and go through tons of errors to figure out really what's going on. We're leveraging, the machine learning capabilities within the platform and clustering errors together. Another cool thing too is not only are we clustering those errors together, but where possible, we're relating knowledge articles, from support portal, so you can really have quick access to troubleshooting techniques and steps to really resolve those errors quickly. The ability to open up a case so you can assign that to, Windows engineering, Linux engineering, network engineering, etc., right? And have that, streamlined process to work with those different engineering teams to resolve credential issues, etc. And really just, reducing the amount of noise in your discovery errors and have a really meaningful subset of errors to work with, right? Really going to help out your discovery admins. When we think about setting up schedules, right? We have the ability to set those schedules up here without, going through the left nav. It's all in the workspace, right? And you have insights on those schedules. You can see graphical representation, historical trends, and really, tools integrated with troubleshooting on those failed discovery jobs. The tuning advisor, that's really, think about if you're familiar with, a platform health scan, right? The tuning advisor is really a set of tuning checks that were developed by our ITOM Rangers to validate that your discovery environment is set up to its optimal specification. So, making sure that, you have your mid servers enabled, right? You don't have multiple IPs associated to several, one subnet, so to speak, is associated to multiple schedules, etc., right? These checks are executed on an automated basis, and we will be releasing more checks in the future. Another thing too, the Insights application. This really helps you kind of understand, where do I have missing compute resources from Discovery? Being able to look at, Virtual Machine Explorer, right? Being able to see a mid-server dashboard, right? And really, the one that I think is going to be very beneficial is Shazam Insights, right? So that's really understanding what when you look at a subnet scan from a Shazam perspective, which one of those IP addresses are active and which ones are alive, what ports are they responding on, et cetera. So previously, we didn't store that data in the database. You really, had to go into the discovery status to see what's going on. The Shazam Insights overview really gives you a deep, ability to understand what's going on with your IP scanning to help you troubleshoot and to provide back to, let's say, the security organization, hey, give me a list of all those IPs that are responding and those that aren't for a given subnet, right? So yeah, really cool. Just one thing to think about though is, with Shazam Insights, that there is a dependency on the Xanadu release. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to Shri so he can do a demo. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here and hand it over to Shri.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. So, team, we are excited to launch this Xanadu release. Xanadu release, as you all know, it's packed with tons of Gen AI features. I would encourage you to read all the release notes and all the product marketing materials that kind of highlight what innovations are coming out, not just from ITOM, but across the portfolio of our solutions. First thing first, right? How do I get access to the Discovery Admin Workspace? You go to store.servicenow.com, you search for Discovery Admin Workspace, and every single app that we started shipping is all available in the stores.servicenow.com. Like either it's pattern, service mapping, certificate management, even the external credential vault, it's available as a store app. The most important thing to look for is the version, right? 1.3.3, which is released the latest new version that is going to be supported from Xanadu and Washington Patch 5. We have also shipped some of the older versions, which will have access only to Content 360. I'll explain what this experience will unlock. So in your environment, if you see only Content 360, maybe you are having this older versions. You may need to just re-enroll to the latest version, opt-in, install the content via the plugin workspace. So you need to make sure the install version is 1.3.3, and then you will be able to see this entire beautiful workspace. And let's start with the key features that Derek highlighted. As a discovery admin, right, your day-to-day job is to make sure the discovery setup is complete. All the schedules are running properly, but the most intriguing activity is the error handling, troubleshooting, why things are not getting discovered, which is a place like where you spend a lot of times, in terms of troubleshooting, understanding the scope of discovery and so on. But the other interesting thing is like you may be interested in terms of understanding advisory services from ServiceNow. Hey, do I have my infrastructure environment set up properly based on the partner recommendation or based on the product recommendation? So all those critical aspects are all going to be available within this one unified workspace. Me as a discovery admin, I join, know the company. I'm just like logging into the workspace, right? Once it is logged in, you would see this entire experience that comes with the home schedule, diagnostic, content 360, insights, and tuning advisor. We call this as a simple mega menu that kind of gives you context on where you are in this experience. The first thing that you would notice is like as an administrator, you need to have visibility into all your discovery schedules. We have given a simple schedule widget that kind of gives you whether you have any canceled discovery jobs. Again, this is very important, I would say, KPI for administrators. So if you have more and more cancellations, if you look at this specific trend where most of my cancellations happen because of my mids were down due to patching, and you may need to have those trend lines for your record keeping purpose, but also to understand if something has deviated from the baseline that you have set up. We've given a simple trend line on ECCQ load so that you understand how that performance and load bearing capacity within the platform is happening. The error task, I'll come and show you how you can generate error task. But there's a whole bunch of other experience like tuning advisor and quick access to admin task, which again, I'm going to explain. The two things that you will see in this launchpad is the visibility apps. Derek showed you the power of the entire visibility package, right? You have access to so many critical applications like certificate management, service mapping plus, cloud operations workspace, the Oracle class application that helps you to perform audit data, right, that can be collected for your audit evidence. So all those apps are all now available in single page. You as an administrator can actually see what apps you have not installed that are part of your entitlement. You can also get whether apps are up to date or you need to have an update to the versions that have been shipped, right? So it's one-stop shop for administrators to perform continuous monitoring on what content is being shipped, whether you have the latest content. And again, we clearly categorize them into whether apps are up to date or you need to update the app or you have not even installed the app. Right? The other interesting thing with the Discovery is like continuous learning. It's a very complicated product. I mean, from the conceptual side, if you have IP address, if you have mid server, if you have access to those missions and with the credentials, Discovery is a very simple product. But the real challenge is the complexity of the infrastructure that we all handle at scale. And Discovery as a product over the year, it's the second most adopted product in the ServiceNow ecosystem. And we have a lot of tribal knowledge with knowledge base articles. Our outbound team does a phenomenal exercise of showcasing the product capabilities and values that we deliver. We are bringing all the learning capabilities into the product experience. So you as an administrator can now use this learning module, like, in order to just even ask a question, like say, no, you have a credential problem, you search for it, you immediately get 99 potential credential related knowledge base articles that are actually coming from our support.servicenow.com channel. Again, a great way to learn the the tips and tricks that can be applied to the product. And you also start seeing quick discovery, right? It's one of the most important feature that many administrators execute. And one fun stuff about quick discovery is like, okay, we have allowed quick discovery for one IP address, that's known. But many customers and administrators have, can you allow us to just copy paste a set of multiple IP address that you wanted to use within the quick discovery module? That is exactly what we have done with Xanadu release. To give you an example, I know in the Insights module gives you all the dashboards and day-to-day operational views. I have built a dashboard called Missing Compute Resource from Discovery. I wanted to see all the list of compute that I have not seen in the last 7 days. I can always multi-select IP address or compute, and then I can add it to quick discovery. So you see that all the IP address that I'm adding, right, the multi-IP address is now fully supported with quick discovery. This is huge for many customers. In fact, this is one of the top innovation idea that was voted by customers, and we have developed and shipped it. And coming back to the home screen, especially the schedules, where schedule page is very, very important for our administrators, right? Where you need to have single pane of glass that shows all the schedule visibility across your locations, all the errors that you are generating, and the most important widget that shows a trend line of what schedules are completed and what schedules are canceled. A trend line that kind of gives you a quick snapshot view of what is working and what is not working. As I said, sometimes like getting a 0 is not a bad thing, right, in the discovery administration world. And cancel discovery 0 is a huge thumbs up experience that everything is going on schedule as planned. But let's dig deep into the schedule details. Right? Let me pick this schedule called Crucible 1. I can actually see the schedule details of how the schedule is set up, like how frequently, what mid servers are used. But the interesting thing is we are bringing all the discovery runtime information into the schedule page. And that kind of gives me a complete visibility to the schedule. What MIT is used, what is the location, what is the frequency, what is the max runtime. It brings in a quick snapshot view of all the discovery errors for that specific schedule. And here's a place like where we have applied some of the machine learning clustering algorithm to show you how many unique credential related errors are happening for that schedule. This is claiming that there are 30 SSH authentication failures that are happening just in the schedule, where you can actually see those SSH failures and you can start troubleshooting that experience even within that schedule. You can look for how to troubleshoot. You can create a task. I'll come to the case management side, but also we have introduced the concept of Shazam insights, and this is going to be available in the Xanadu release. So I'm going to highlight what this can do to you once I explain the Shazam insights concepts. The schedule page, as I said, it is one-stop shop, gives you all the total devices that are discovered, total IPs that you have discovered. And here's one interesting thing that you would see in Xanadu release, mainly on the IPs, total IPs scan. You see how we are able to collate all the ranges into /24, and most of the customers really challenge ServiceNow, saying, "Hey, how can ServiceNow say that your discovery is complete?" If I take the specific range /24, I can say that this range has potentially 254 IP ranges. That's very well known. But I need to have a visibility into active and alive IPs and how many of those IP addresses are not even reachable for that specific range. So if I click on that specific range, I firstly get a whole lot of good information about this, right? Saying 68 potential active IPs are there. And this tab will have complete visibility into all the IP address, whether these IP addresses are alive, and what is the DNS record for that specific IP, and whether you have fully discovered that host or not. And as an administrator, this is super important. Let's say out of 70 IP address, me as a discovery admin, I wanted to know what is fully discovered and what is not discovered. I will go to the host empty page and I'll say show matching. So now this brings back 14 IP address in my schedule in that specific IP range where Discovery has not detected any of the device information. It can be a network device, it can be a storage device, it can be in servers, but these IP address exist. Shazam is able to find out the IP is alive and true. The other interesting dimension that we bring in is the DNS record. Here, this is also giving me that for the specific IP address, I have a DNS record. I still haven't discovered it. Maybe I don't have credentials. But some of those IP address, I don't even have any record in DNS. What are these IPs? And then I can check what kind of ports are accessible during the time of scan, right? I can check how many of them have SSH port open, WinRM port open. So this is going to give tremendous potential for the administrators to create a case within the internal org. Now you can take those IP address, work with your security administrators, work with your server administrators, and start challenging them, saying, "Hey, I need credentials. I know this IP address respond not to port SSH, and you need to get like visibility into those schedules." We are super excited for Shazam Insights. In fact, the other interesting thing is we brought all the intelligence of Shazam Insights into this one report, which will be a killer report for your security audience, where overall from the schedule, like this is one common question that many security champions see. So are, how many IP addresses do we have? How many of them are actively alive in your network, right? A single app that gives you everything, right? And then how many are not reachable? This may be like not interesting. But what is interesting is we bring every single Shazam Insight data into this report. So you as an discovery administrator will be able to give this to your CISO audience and get more, I would say, adoption for your CMDB, for your discovery, and mainly CMDB and discovery for cyber outcomes is one massive opportunity that many customers are really pushing on. So schedule will also have the schedule status page, which is again super important for customers. I've added some filters, but you would see all those schedule status, cancel status, which is again an important, I would say, dimension needed for administrators. So that's quick view on the schedules. Let's quickly pivot to the diagnostic phase. So Derek showed you like the concept of day one and day two. Majority of us where the discovery is already set up, right? That's day one. But most of the times, we as a discovery administrator, we need to maintain the discovery schedule. And that is one place where we spend a lot of our time troubleshooting, understanding what is not working, and even getting a viewpoint on the discovery errors, which is extremely noisy. So what we have done in this release is firstly, apply machine learning, give you a clustering analysis of all the errors. We have introduced the concept of category, like for example, credential related errors, super important for you to troubleshoot, to understand how many potential credential related errors are happening across all the schedules, where I can see SSH, Windows, and SNMP. I can also slice and dice based on the schedule itself, where we give you visibility to the schedule option, or you can look for all schedules. And the interesting thing, as I said, the Shazam Insights is embedded into this experience. So I can always like multi-select whatever IP address I want. I can look for what is my Shazam Insights saying for those IP address where I have credential errors. So now this is saying that, hey, for these 3 IP address where the SNMP port is open, I can clearly see that Shazam Insights is also acknowledging it. It is also giving me the DNS record, which will be extremely useful to understand whether these are all network appliances, security appliances. You are never going to discover those appliances, or maybe a MIB or an SNMP OID is missing. So this will help you to troubleshoot all the credential errors with the help of Shazam Insights. But also you'll be able to create a task. We introduced an entire case management for discovery, which is primarily where we wanted to literally move away from emails, right? Where you have to export the list of IP address, send it to your server administrators. So now I can set up a simple case, automatic case with the discovery errors, which will have all the related IP address where I am missing all the SSH certificate or keys, right, required to do the discovery. So now you have collected evidence, and your administrators can also use this. We are adding some actions layer in the future release, but we are going to allow you to use the case management, send it to your administrators, right? And then it's a simple one-click task. Like in this case, if I click on this, it quickly brings in all the potential IP address that are part of that specific schedule, or in this case, I selected all schedules, and I can create a case saying SNMP failed for 5 IPs, and I can assign it to the networking team for further investigations. So this is the way that you can now track your effort, showcase your administration activity to your team members, and also the beautiful visual task board that we have built, the new ticket that I just created, SNMP connection. Now I can say assign it to a person. I can now have this as work in progress. I can now have an SLAs assigned with the help of your administrators, so that you will be able to better move your discovery agenda, right, in your organization. We are super excited for diagnostics that is going to give you a complete visibility to all the errors. It gives you to quickly clean up the errors, because sometimes you wanted to start fresh. You might have done some level of troubleshooting. You can quickly clear up the logs. So the next discovery runs, it's going to bring brand new error codes. so that you will be able to find out how many number of SNMP errors are happening, how to troubleshoot this errors. We have been given a knowledge base article on troubleshooting. We have given you the task management that is helping you to assign the task. The further tabs are purely, I would say, an opportunity for us to help you in the process of troubleshooting. And you are going to see a whole bunch of support tools here in the upcoming releases. In the first release, we have introduced some simple tools like that will help you to migrate from CAPI to patterns, probe to patterns. And if you're still running probes, it's time for you to make sure you can migrate the code to patterns. That's the best practice. But we added one important tool called frequently discovered IP address. Many customers have asked me saying, hey, can you give me a report of overlapping IP address? Because you as an administrator, you wanted to understand if an IP address is there in multiple schedules. This is again a very important task because you don't want to unnecessarily discover the same IP address again and again. It's putting more load on your network. It's again creating a lot of churn, especially if you're discovering a core network switch 5 times in a schedule. It is going to create like some friction with your networking team. So with one-click report, now you have complete visibility to all the potential IPs that have more than one schedules attached. And you can also see how frequently you are discovering this IPs. And as I said, I'm going to put more and more tools here for administrators to troubleshoot, to understand know your discovery estate, and to improve your posture from the security angle. We have brought all the logs here into one space, like ECC queues and discovery logs. And if you are ignoring errors, because with the errors, as I said, over the period of time, it may have some potential to quickly come out with a lot of errors. Like let's say that you don't want some internal errors where you know that this error is going to happen and your admins are not going to fix this, like either these are appliances. And you can always ignore that specific error that goes to ignore button. So that's quick view on the diagnostics. So let's quickly pivot to content 360. So discovery is all about content. As you all know, when discovery goes and runs discovery, we will collect a whole lot of estate, right? We collect the infrastructure details, especially the servers, IP address, host related details. But also the running process estate is very, very important for discovery because this is how the exploration of patterns, right, where we look for a process fingerprint and then we trigger a pattern. A good example is you have a PMON process and someone has to tell discovery that, hey, PMON belongs to an Oracle fingerprint. So we can run an Oracle database pattern to collect extended data. Right? And we have built like a lot of patterns. But over the period of years, many customers say that for their software asset management use case, for their vulnerability management use case, there is a whole bunch of applications that can be easily detected just by process fingerprint. And we introduced this new content service, very similar to ITOM content service. It will allow you to crowdsource these two specific tables. And in fact, you can actually go to this table called CMDB process groups and discovery SNMP OID table. And once you opt in, this allows you to actually anonymously share the data that that can be used for fingerprinting analysis. And we have put a set of content creators, and their whole job is to go and fingerprint an application. And you would start seeing content service suggestions where every single process will now be cataloged into a proper publisher and product. So when these process is detected, now an application CI can be created. These are all simple process signatures. And now when you show the dependency mapping, when you show the impact assessment, you would be able to actually see the threat assessment, the overall impact assessment. And also many times customers wanted to get evidence on running software versus installed software. You want to have quick install software data getting created. So on the left nav menu, if I search for smart content, you will see how you can actually ignore all the sensitive data. For example, we have given some simple regex that will do the cleanups where if it has an IP address or a password, or if anything that is running in the process signatures, we don't want to get that sensitive data. You can add your own extended suggestions. But also the other interesting thing is the smart content cleanup, but also the categories. Let's say that for some of the category of software, you wanted to create an installed software estate, you can just turn this flag on. So when the process fingerprint is detected, then using the process fingerprint, we are going to create an installed software estate with publisher and product. So this will also help your software asset management use case where you don't have to create any custom pattern, right? All you have to do is create a fingerprint or work with the content team to build that fingerprint category. And this way, you will be able to pretty much use the admin experience, right, to have your SAM program and vulnerability management program very, very successful. So we have tons of customers contributing in. That's why you are seeing a lot of SNMP OIDs, a lot of content services suggestions being shipped on weekly basis to your instance. The next experience is all about insights, which is a place where we kind of brought all the dashboard experience together, because the storytelling with the data is very, very important as at CMDB, as a discovery admin, where most of the times, right, you want to show the value of data, right, how this data is being collected. And we have built some net new reports, like, for example, the Kubernetes Explorer, the missing compute resource, Shazam Insights I showed you. The Virtual Machine Explorer, again, quickly gives you a view of virtual machines, its key value pair. You can also see the node map, which is, again, the unified node map that will give you a visibility into how that dependency map looks like. A very useful tool for administrators, to again pretty much use this scale. The last one I would highlight is the tuning advisor. This is a place where when we kind of analyzed some of the best practices settings that can be applied across our customer base. We partnered with our core experts in the field called ITOM Rangers, and some of the top-notch experts like Douglas Scholes, who's a community hero, 16 years with ServiceNow. He is more experienced than anybody else in the discovery domain. So these knowledge packs, which kind of clearly identifies good practices setting from the discovery admin experiences, where we kind of codified all those into a concept called checks. Right? Firstly, you would start seeing a category called discovery, mid, and self-monitoring. And for each category, there are certain checks. And you as an administrator can deactivate a check if you don't like, if you don't agree, because there's no one administrator who would agree to all the the best practices. So you can disable those checks, but also we added an interesting thing called self-monitoring suite. Like in this example, a mid-server monitoring is a common ask from a customer, where you wanted to have a simple definition that will continuously monitoring mid. And this is again pretty much scheduled for every 15 minutes. So that means it's a very simple script, continuously monitors mid. If the mid is down, it's going to create an automated case task within the diagnostics section. And within that schedule, you can create your own script logic, right? If you wanted to add more monitoring features, if you wanted to add more best practices features, you can use the existing examples that we have given and then start creating your own checks. But the most important thing is okay, what happens when the check fails? Like in this case, it's giving me an health score saying 85% I'm healthy, but the 3 checks have failed. I'm more interested in finding out what those checks are. Immediately, the tuning advisor check results will tell you what these checks are. Like a good example, SSH and SNMP classification priority. If you take this simple example, right, you might see a whole lot of SSH errors in your estate. This is because the priority classification for SSH is given highest priority and SNMP is given second priority. And what will happen, especially when you run the scan, most of your network devices will say that, hey, I have an open SSH port, and you're trying to log in with all the SSH credentials. Unnecessarily, you are delaying the discovery process. And then it's going to try the SNMP port. And then in SNMP port, it'll be successful. So you can avoid all the SSH errors just by flipping this one property. And these are all the best practices that our Ranger team has developed. So I would advise, when you install this admin experience, run the out-of-the-box tuning advisor check, validate your health score, look what these recommendations are. In this case, it will exactly tell you how to flip that priority and what will happen when you flip the priority. In fact, it gives you some interesting definitions. You can also go and validate that specific setting, know how this specific setting check is happening for that classification priority. Right? It's a very simple logic of self-monitoring and also giving you the best practices for the administrators to again fine-tune your discovery admin experience. So just to finalize my demo and thought process, the admin experience, it is available in store, Xanadu and Washington Patch 5. You will be able to get all those new features. The Shazam Insights, it's a setting that you have to activate only with Xanadu. It will not work in Washington Patch 5. And the entire experience is decoupled from the family release. So you are going to see quarterly updates to this experience. It comes with a brand new homepage experience. Quick Discovery now supports multiple IP address. Tuning Advisor helps you to apply best practices. Content 360 helps you to crowdsource and get all the SNMP OIDs and process classifiers into your instance on weekly basis. The Insights module gives you all the dashboards and reports. The Diagnostic module helps you in the troubleshooting and error handling. And the most important thing, the Schedules, which gives you a fantastic visual experience for all your schedules, errors, and your overall coverage in terms of duplicate IP address. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Discovery Admin Experience. And with that note, I'll hand over the floor to Derek.